And we're back here in the Post-Binge Podcast. I'm here with an old friend of mine from our high school days. I met her in grade 8, I believe. So we're like 13, 12 years old or whatever we were.
So tiny.
Young in days. When we learned how to dance at PE class and stuff.
Oh my God.
Or square or whatever.
Cotton and I Joe.
Cotton and I Joe. Yeah. And we're here to talk about Atlanta. Her name is Rebecca.
Hello. I'm Rebecca.
Hi, hello. And yeah, she's a big fan of Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, just as I am. He's one of my favorite people in the world. Like, if I could meet one person and have like an hour discussion, I would probably choose. If I could have a podcast with anyone in the world, it would be Donald Glover, I think.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, he's legit my favorite person. Jua knows this. And like, if I've been to his concert, I know you have too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was amazing in that. And I'm so glad that we're doing this show, because this show was added on last minute because I didn't know. I don't know that many people that watch it.
Right? It's really hard to like find other people to watch it. I don't know.
I noticed that like it's not a Netflix show. It's not an Amazon Prime show.
Yeah.
It's not all those.
A little bit. You have to go out of your way to look for it, or because
or you got to be a fan of
Childish Gambino to have a following.
Exactly. So Jackson, your boyfriend, mentioned it. Showed you the show basically.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Because it's on FX and that's not aired in Canada
No.
unless you have a premium cable subscription.
Yeah, that's why I had to like. I think my brother watched it first, and then I got on it right after because I didn't even know he had. I knew he was leaving. He was making his own show. I didn't know it was gonna come out at that time, and it came out, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta watch it. And then I checked it out, and that's how I came upon it originally. I streamed it, and then my favorite character is gonna be Donald Glover, obviously, but I also really like Paperboy. Paperboy was one of my favorite, and well, sorry, I'm blanking.
Darius?
Darius. How do you not love Darius?
How do you know? I think he's so memey, and I think the actor Lakeith Stanfield on Instagram, he's really memey as well.
Even the actor, so he plays like kind of himself.
He plays him so well.
That's the best characters and actors in shows when they play. They could just be themselves,
or like just an extension of themselves.
Yeah, like an over top version of themselves.
Did you see the Complex interview, like the sneaker shopping, and
Lakeith
Stanfield, Darius, and he was shoeless, like while he was sneaker shopping, and he was sort of like kind of making fun of the concepts, like consumerism, or like these are all for views or something that Darius would say on the show.
It's on Complex.
It's on Complex, the sneaker shopping series.
Yeah, I gotta check that out. But Darius is one of those characters that is just weird, but at the same time he's so like hilariously weird. Like it's one of those things where he thinks of like 5-head things. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's got a brain, but like a very like he's high all the time type
like
of brain.
Another dimension.
Yeah.
Like everything's a simulation. It's like I don't think he's wrong, but I don't think I'm 5-head enough to understand
that kind of stuff, because I'm like it seems like he's on shrooms 24/7.
It's like if you want to compare it to another show like Seinfeld, he's really eccentric, like Kramer.
Yeah. I can see that. That's a good comparison. Of course, you mentioned Seinfeld. Jackson probably got you into that too.
Oh yeah, we have to watch an episode almost daily.
Oh my goodness.
No, it's fun.
I used to fight with him all day about Seinfeld.
No, that's what I heard too. Like ever since grade 8, it was like the Friends versus Seinfeld debate.
We always fight about that, and I'm like, honestly, I love Seinfeld too. It's just Friends hits home for me as a kid watching it.
Clearly,
the
posters
I'm
right there.
Big fan of Friends. I already did an episode on it, so that was one of my favorite binges too. As a kid, watching it weekly on television. Oh, not weekly. It was on daily.
Yeah.
So what do you like best about the show, about Atlanta?
I think it's because I've never seen anything like that on television before.
Yeah,
and
it's different.
Yeah, it's really different. Like, whoa, it's so deep. I don't know.
No, they do a lot of things that are like no other television show even dares to do. You know, they talk about controversial topics, but they do it so in a satirical way that it just Glover, he's just a genius with those type of things, right? Do you have a favorite character or actor in the show?
Oh, I really like Darius, as I mentioned, and I also really like Van too.
Oh yeah.
Just let's take a second and think about how all of the actors off of like Atlanta are just successful in their own way. Because Van is in Deadpool, and then Paperboy, Brian Tyree Henry has their own thing. Yeah.
They've done like I never thought about that, but they're all like ventured off and done like their own stuff on top of Atlanta, and I love I love her too. She's really great.
I think because she's also really pretty, so she's
killing it in a lot of ways. So she's really pretty. Yeah, she was in the recent movie too, Joker.
Joker, yeah.
She was in Joker, yeah, and yeah, she did a good job in that movie too. When did you first start watching it? Did you watch it when it just came out?
Yeah, when it just started coming, when it came out. So we
waited weekly.
We waited weekly, yeah.
That's the old time TV. The kids these days.
Where it's like just watch like.
Yeah, we just
an episode.
Well, this show's all about binging, but I used to always have to do that. Wait weekly, and I hated when I got to that point where I caught up on a show, and I'm like, I gotta wait one whole week to see this.
Sometimes the format works because you have something to look forward to every week.
It does work with Atlanta.
It works with Atlanta.
There's no crazy cliffhangers at the end. That's why I noticed that in Atlanta. Well, like imagine watching Prison Break weekly when they have those insane cliffhangers.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I was so happy, and Lost too. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
I watched it like after all the episodes have aired, so you could be able to watch it back to back.
And it's a dangerous game, binging though, especially if you're a student or like
That's
trying
true.
to do shit. You gotta get shit done. Is that what you guys do now all the time? Just watch shows, movies? Because you're with a movie buff. You gotta be watching lots of movies.
We started watching like old Canadian TV shows like 15.
Really?
Did you ever watch 15 Love on YTV?
Is that the tennis?
That's the tennis is so good.
That's a throwback. I love that show.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I don't know how it is now.
No, it actually still holds.
Good?
It still holds up after
Like,
16, 17
not
years.
or anything?
No, it's not. Well,
surprised.
there's like some. Well, not really. I think it's
show
fine.
Or was just playing on like.
It was not. It was a YTV show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because that was like it seemed like a higher budget like YTV show. You know,
I
how
think
YTV's like very like low budget stuff.
Yeah, like Zix Level 3 and like
Yeah.
I don't know, other Nickelodeon shows,
Yeah.
but no, 15 Love was an actually really good show. It talks about like relationships and like, obviously tennis, and I think it was really ahead of its time.
I think so too, because I remember even as a kid watching it, I'm like, this is like watching Friends too, you know?
This is like watching Friends.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's like the goofy character,
they had
and
their own
they
characters.
made everyone go into like relationships.
It made me want to play tennis too.
Yeah, it made you want to play
And
tennis.
I finally, ever since then, I understood what 15 Love meant. Like, because I always wondered, what the fuck does that mean? The scoring is so weird, but I always remember 15 Love. Why do you think this show is like, I guess it's not mainstream popular yet, but I think it's getting there. It pretty much is there. But I mean, like, to the point where, like, anyone who's seen it, like a Netflix show, or if it's on Netflix, I think it would have been more popular than it is right now, just being on FX. But we're also in Canada, so I think if we're in America, maybe it is at that level where like everyone has seen it.
Yeah.
But right now, I really have trouble finding anyone who has seen it, so I don't have many people that I can talk to it about. Like every week, when weekly shows, you like talking to someone about it after it's over. Yeah. What do you think about like why do you think it's not there, and also why do you think it is so popular in the underrated world, like where people are actually into these type of shows, like very underrated shows?
I think with like social media, I think if you're on like maybe Twitter and like Reddit and Discord and stuff, you've probably seen it like that. But I think it just has a lot of exposure in Canada unless you do follow Donald Glover. And even I looked up like the FX YouTube channel. Yeah. And when you watch like popular clips, it's under like the 1 million range. Yeah. So
I do see that they do show up some clips here and there on YouTube, and like if you're a fan of Glover, you can get into it that way, and then you see like, and then if you like, you're just gonna look up for the whole show. One of these posters might fall down any moment, but
oh no,
don't be scared if it does.
It's all good. It's a pandemic.
It's okay. It's because I just finished the Naruto episode, so it's ready to fall.
Oh, okay.
I've got like One Piece and Naruto, all these animes on there. We just finished weaving out. But yeah, no, I want to talk a little bit about some themes in the show. Like, and one of my favorite things is the ambition of these characters of Glover, or sorry, I'm blanking on his name in the show.
Or Ern.
Ern. He was really down in the dust in the beginning, down in the dirt in the beginning, and then he goes to his cousin. His cousin is making money, trying to be a rapper, and that's how they kind of get together and how the story starts. That takes some sort of ambition, because I can't imagine ever being like, I'm making no money, I'm gonna go try to pursue this music producing career. Or
Yeah.
This is like, it's such a crazy thing to think about. But I do like that theme of ambition and being like fighting for like what you want to do in life, like in our era, or even being both Asian descent, like Asian first generation. We probably get judged if we're gonna do something.
If you're gonna pursue arts and not like
exactly.
STEM and stuff,
or going into like being a doctor, lawyer, or whatever it is, right? So I do think accommodate that ambition is like I like to see that on television.
Yeah,
I'm living vicariously through it.
Like, honestly, I think it's for his character. I think it's about survival as well.
More
because
for him to survival, yeah.
Because like as each episode progresses, we're just like, why is he so motivated? You know, because when it's like, oh, somebody down on the dumps, and you would think like, oh, they're gonna turn their life around by the end of the season or end of season 2, but then it sort of emulates real life because progression is really slow. Like you're not gonna like get the goal immediately, and sometimes like life doesn't happen the way you want it, and sometimes in the show like not a lot happens in the show if you even think about it.
Yeah, a lot of the shows episodes like are very like anticlimactic, but it's just satirical. It's very satirical where they're trying to push a theme, this is life. It's not nothing. It's not always so like movie like and like Hollywood like. It could be like very nothing. But one of the things I always thought Ern was he was always pushing for his family, his daughter, and like he needed to make money and doing whatever it took to make sure his daughter gets fed. Like and like going to his family with his cousin and Maya Paperboy, always having their backs, and that really showed the love of family. Some of the things let's talk about is Black Justin Bieber.
Black Justin Bieber, that I think it's trying to show like Atlanta is, if it was like had an alternate universe, it would have Black Justin Bieber.
I was so curious when he first saw it. I was like, no way they're doing this. And then he ended up being kind of a douche too. And I'm like, no, Justin Bieber's not a douche. I'm actually a big fan. Yo.
You're just like, not the slander, not the Justin Bieber slander, not our Canadian.
I always wonder if Bieber has seen it and like talked about it or anything because it's so funny. I'm sure he has. Another thing, the invisible cars. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the setup for that was so good.
That was hilarious. I when it first happened, I was like, no way, they're actually doing this.
Of course, like, always Darius is the one it's like that believes it, and nobody believes it, and then
that's what we were talking about earlier. How he's so like next level and it does happen. It shows that he is that next level.
He's so like enlightened.
Yeah. But if you first watch it, you think he's just a dumbass. But it's not that. It's not that simple. And I don't know. I think life is not that simple, and it shows. And even though it's something that's so out there, I think having that kind of like comedic taste to it is so good in Atlanta. And one of my favorite episodes was the Teddy Perkins episode.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember when it was the Michael Jackson type?
The Michael Jackson type.
And do you know that was played by
Donald Glover in Whiteface.
Yes.
And after,
yeah. I didn't realize it the whole time.
I didn't really finish the episode because it actually kind of scared me.
It scared me so much. I got so shook, and I was like, yo, it reminds me of when I was scared of Michael Jackson.
No. I feel like every kid like had a phase of being scared of white Michael Jackson.
Yeah, white Michael Jackson because of the pedophilia stuff that
dangling the child over the balcony.
The dangling child, that was so scary, and like him smiling and dangling him. And then I watched an episode of South Park where they made him look super scary.
Oh my gosh!
And then this happens. I'm like, yo, I don't know if I could finish this either, but I had to. So
yeah, that episode, it showed Darius in a different light. Like he wasn't joking. Well, in the beginning he was. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get this piano, which is multicolored. I'm like, okay, Darius. But that's also me like going out of my way to get something off Craigslist too. Yeah. So
you do that? Do you ever get shook of like, oh, if I'm going to buy this across town and like, what the fuck's gonna happen to me?
I mean, sometimes sometimes I'm just like, oh, I text like.
You text someone.
I text someone like, I'm here. If I don't respond in 15 minutes, please call the cops.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you gotta be smart where you're meeting. And most of the times, I sell and buy a lot of stuff on Facebook, Marketplace, and Craigslist. I think it's such a good place for people like me who are like trying to get this equipment together to do these type of things because you can't afford it. Buying it outright new, the stuff is really expensive. So I think it comes in handy, but at the same time, I'm really like, it's hard to trust people. Like either they're getting scammed or they're gonna like. I'm glad I'm not in Surrey.
Oh my goodness!
Right now, especially. So, yeah. Let's talk what else. There's so much themes in this show that bring up? One thing I want to bring up, the gender and racial identity in the show. Like, there's a lot of right in the beginning, the I think when he was in prison. Do you remember?
Oh
that?
yes, it was
Or not
like the
prison,
first or
jail
second
cell,
episode.
Yeah.
And then it was like another dude was like, "Oh, we go way back," and then somebody was like, "That's a man," and then like he was like sort of in denial, but then and then like the transgendered woman was just like just chill, like, "What do you mean?" Like,
yeah. So the guy didn't realize that he was basically banging or no wait, it was a transgender dude. Yeah, and then he was just like shocked at that point because it was just, I like how they bring up these type of the phobias that people have, but they take a light out of it. Like it's very lighthearted, and they make it less toxic.
Yeah, a lot of tonal shifts. In that one episode.
Does that so well, where they don't like make things that are usually very controversial,
or like bring up uncomfortable
topics. Yeah, and then they make it very lighthearted and easy to digest. Even people like us, we're probably like, it doesn't bother at all, but I bet someone who does bother, it might be watchable for them, and they can learn something and make it less like scary to them or anything like that.
More tangible, like easy to digest.
One thing that I read, police brutality.
The Coconut Crunch shows.
Coconut Crunch, that one, they made it so lighthearted because it was a Coconut Crunch commercial, but it was so real at the same time.
It was, people were like, "Oh, this show was way ahead of its time," but then it's like, no, not really. This has always been happening.
Yeah, this is still happening, and I remember posting that exact thing in my Instagram for Before You Binge, during the police brutality of George Floyd after the protest happened for that, and I just thought it was so relatable at that time because he literally put his foot on his foot, or he put his weight on his back of his neck.
The wolf,
on the wolf, and that was exactly what happened to George Floyd. And I'm like, this cartoon was literally made, like, predicted what would happen here in the future. And
it's predictive programming.
I know. Are we living in a simulation? Maybe Darius is right. This is a Matrix. Where do you ever think about that? How like all these controversies with the glitch in the system, where when we have the little what is it called when you remember something, deja vu.
Oh yeah, deja vu.
When it's like a glitch in the system because it did happen in the past. Like, it's such a trippy thing to think about. Like, sometimes I totally believe it, but sometimes I'm like, nah.
Sometimes I'm like, I want to believe it, but if I share my thoughts, everyone will think I'm crazy, and we can't have that right now.
We can't have not yet. Not yet. Let me be old first.
Let me be old first, or just let the youngins do the work for us, and then we'll ride the wave.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm just waiting for something to break, like some news to break out about like how some crazy technology found this. And I'm like, oh shit, it's real. Like, I already know aliens are real. I'm like, I believe in that one. I know that.
You think aliens are real?
No, I think aliens are real, and this
is something I'm learning.
Really, yeah, I do believe aliens are real. I think though the universe is huge, so they're might be here, but there might be other life forms.
Did you are you one of those people that are like, I'm gonna go to the Area 51?
No, I was not that bad. I don't know if, like, there's a lot of people that believe that aliens are already within us, like that are already here, but I don't know if I'm at that level yet. Even though there's a lot of those UFOs sightings.
Okay, next thing you're telling me, like, oh, you should read about this thing called Scientology.
Hell no, I ain't no Scientology guy. I'm good. Right now, I just want to talk about satire. Do you like satire? Is that your type of comedy?
I think it is. I think
you being
being exposed, watching Mad TV at like 7, you shouldn't be exposed to that. But yeah.
Oh, well, that's probably why.
I think that's why I was attracted to this show.
Mad TV was not when I was 7, but a little bit older than that. But like, yeah, I remember watching that kind of stuff. But satire in this show, it was done so subtly in a way, but like it was done so well. Like, I like satire to an extent, but it's hard to do it these days because of cancel culture in a lot of ways. Like, so it's really tough to do it and do it properly. And I think Glover does a great attempt at it throughout this whole series, especially season 2. I thought season 2 was that was they called it I forgot what they called it. They called it something like Coppin season or something.
Oh, Robin
season, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so that season was all about like
when everyone was like robbed from their money or their time.
So everyone was like, that was a very interesting season. I think it was my favorite out of the 2. Yeah, I think the satire and all these things of like the police brutality thing that we just talked about, the Coco, and then the that was the episode with all the commercials, right?
That was the episode with all the satirical commercials.
Satirical commercials.
The one about the Swisher Sweets and
yeah.
the buying in Arizona and it wasn't 99 cents.
Oh,
and then the
man,
comeback
that
was
one
like,
so good.
the price is on the can though. And then it zooms out to saying the price is on the can though. Or the dude.
It's not on the can no more.
It's not in the can. I think they knew. I think
They
after.
knew. And like after they did that, I remember just thinking about Brit when everyone used to have Arizona cans.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
Like, yo, those were like $1.
They were more.
Yeah, they were always more. Like some places charged more. But yeah, I don't know.
I think that was the joke, right? Because like,
Yeah.
even though they charge more, the price is on the can, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really
No,
matter.
It doesn't matter. I don't know. That's the subtle genius of Atlanta. I think is they take things that like a lot of people don't talk about and they bring it to light in a way, and like they do it in a very satirical way. And I recommend the show to anyone.
Yeah, the reference I always make is like, I'm a 35-year-old white man when it's about the black dude who identifies with like white identity.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that's when Paperboy
Yeah.
was like calling him a Draco Malfoy and a felon DeGeneres? He
love
kept
that.
roasting him.
Draco Malfoy.
And-
That's a great roast.
And it was like the dude he's from the disappearing guy meme, like the one who does this.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the actor
That's
who
the
played.
same
If
guy.
you
I
think
gotta
you
look that
recognize
up. I
him.
want to see that. This the guy who disappears and goes like that.
Yeah,
right? I gotta
that's
check
that's
that
the
out.
that's the
Same
35-year-old white man
Oh
dude.
my god.
And
that's
I
so
think
funny.
they were ripping that bit off of Nathan Fielder because the guy was like looking off in a tree
Yeah.
and was also doing the nodding bit. Have you seen like
No.
Nathan For You?
I haven't.
Okay, they do this bit where like he like nods his head. Like
Yeah.
let's say you nod,
Yeah.
and then I keep nodding after, and like when does it stop?
Oh.
I think they were
Yeah.
taking bits from there
I
too.
see. Yeah, I think Glover does that, huh? He like takes bits from other things that he sees and like remixes it in a really good way.
Like that woman who was like reacting to the Paperboy song, and it's
I know what you're
because
talking
because there was a white woman that reacted to like Vince Staples' North, and she was like, "Oh my God, this is abomination."
Oh yeah.
And then this is an abomination. My son can't listen to this. These lyrics are inappropriate.
Oh my god, that's the Karens, yo. Like such a
Yeah, working in customer service, we've seen a lot of those.
We've seen that. I'm so glad. I'm not even like completely out of that phase, but like I'm ready to like tell those stories one day. I've seen a lot of shit in retail and the thing about retail, we both worked at what's it called? McDonald's.
Oh yeah,
At
in
McDonald's,
high
we've
school.
seen some shit back in high
And
school.
you worked at. You even told me you're like, I'm nervous for working at this certain location
Yeah.
because of
There's so much
the
stuff.
demographic.
Yeah, the area was always a bad area, and there's always like druggies and stuff coming in. And I was like, I have to go to work after school. You know who was the year before? Earlier today, we did a episode on Breaking Bad, and Keenan, Lucas, and Henry. They all went to Brit, and Keenan used to always be like, "This guy's always going to work after class and stuff," but he never understood the. Back then, it was like, "Why are you working as a high school kid?" And then now he's like, "Oh damn, I respect that grind now
Oh,
because he
right.
understands
Yeah.
why he's working now, why you have to work at a young age and stuff." And like, it's not even that young, honestly.
Yeah.
People work way younger. And
Honestly,
it's just we had to work. We worked at McDonald's, which is actually a good starting spot. It's just I had a fucking terrible location. Like there was literally needles on the ground in the washroom, and then I'd be like, "No, I'm not doing it. I'm not picking that up."
this is like this is not within my pay grade, honestly.
Yeah, imagine. I'm getting paid $10.25 an hour. I'm not
Oh my
gonna
gosh,
get HIV for that. Yeah, not worth it at all. But yeah. Do you have anything else to talk about for Atlanta? Do you have any tidbits that you do you have any facts? Like I know Atlanta probably has some cool things that I haven't even spoken about.
There's a whole subreddit. Like that's what I do. Like you know how
Yeah.
you said earlier, like I like to discuss shows with people.
Yeah.
Like what I have a habit of like after I watch a TV show,
Yeah.
I just go find the episode on Reddit and just like sort
Oh.
through the Reddit discussion.
Yeah, I'd start doing that. Especially in this pandemic where you can't talk to nobody.
And then there's people and I have like a thought and they're like, oh, this person also reiterated my thought, so that reconfirms my confirmation bias.
Yeah.
And then there's somebody's like, oh, I discovered this, and then so you learn things too.
And
from it.
I think I gotta do that, especially with any other show, especially now with being stuck at home half the time or like not being able to talk to somebody. And I watch so many shows that I'm like, nobody else watched.
Nobody watched.
Yeah, so I send people a list. I'm like, have you watched any of these? So you can talk to me about it. Like, and I don't want to spoil things too. Like, there's like, because the small chance that they might watch it, because I don't want to tell them about it. So yeah, but overall, if I were to like wrap this podcast up with like one thing about what the show is, it's literally about everything, yet nothing particular at all. Like, it's really the type of show that it talks about so many different topics, but at the same time, it doesn't talk about shit. Like, it's very like simple and dumb, but very smart at the same time. So yeah, any last thoughts?
Yeah, I agree.
Recommended for sure.
I would recommend it for sure. Yeah, the theme is like we live in a society. That's what it is.
Yeah,
because they do touch on all social issues, like you said, in a very smart and nuanced way.
Yeah.
Like, especially like, didn't you post on your Before You Binge Instagram about Tracy not getting a job?
Oh yeah, Tracy was one of my other favorite characters. I didn't like him.
He was so problematic.
But he was hilarious, and he was like starting shit with Ern. That stuff was awesome. But when he got a job, he even changed his hairstyle.
He had to change everything.
To match a white person's hair. Like,
he had to get waves.
Waves, yeah.
And then later they were like, "Oh, we're not looking for anybody at the moment." And then he threw a fit.
Yeah, he threw a huge fit in front of the employer. That was hilarious. I love that. I did post that. I think that's a subtle thing too that people of color go through too. Like in the hiring process. They obviously have a bias, and it's there, and we just have to get through it without. We're in a disadvantage. Like, it's just we are in that disadvantage, and I think everyone can agree about that. But we just can't make excuses. We make adjustments. That's what
I think what he did when he threw a fit. That's what a lot of people of color would want to do in a situation.
That's
but
very true. But
because we have to take it, like, save
and
face,
move on to the next
move on to the next one.
That is so true. And like, I think it was probably nice for us viewers to be like,
it's so cathartic.
I wish I could have done that. The pencil thing is, it was awesome. But yeah, I guess we're done here at the Post-Binge Podcast. Thank you for joining me, Rebecca.
Thanks for having me, Toby.
Yeah, we'll love to have you back again for another show. I know you've watched a bunch of other ones, and maybe Jackson one of these. Tell this guy to come through, man.
Oh,
tell this guy to at least come play basketball with me.
Well, I thought he told me, oh, you have to edit this out, but he was like, oh, Tofik doesn't want to see me right now because I just took $280.
Oh my goodness, I don't need to edit that out. That can stay.
Don't do that.
That can stay. This guy just won our fantasy basketball league. So
yeah, he didn't rob Tofik.
He didn't rob me, but he won fair and square. I'll get him back next year. But. All right, thanks for joining me again. Thank you. If you want to see Rebecca back on, leave a comment, let me know, and we will bring her back. And also make sure to leave a review, like whatever there is to do to help promote this podcast. And we'll make more, obviously. It's fun. I love talking TV. Here we go. Oh, look at this TV shirt we made. If you support it, support me by telling me that it's nice. Thanks.
It's nice, Tofik.
There you go. Bye.